Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Patnubay at gabay ng magulang ay kailangan sa mga batang manonood.
The views and opinions expressed by the host do not state or reflect those of the company and its management. Furthermore, the views, opinions, and insinuations made by the host, guests, do not reflect those of the show, the management, and the network.
Magandang gabi, Pilipinas. Tonight, explosive allegations shake the country's political landscape. Former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV drops a bombshell. Over 181 million pesos in alleged funds linked to a supposed drug lord traced, he claims, to members of the Duterte family. At the center of it all, Vice President Sara Duterte now facing scrutiny as impeachment hearings intensify in the House of Representatives. More striking, during the hearings, the Anti-Money Laundering Council reportedly confirmed multiple transactions flagged in official reports, raising even more questions than answers. Are these documents proof of hidden wealth or politically charged accusations? Is this the unraveling of a powerful political dynasty or another chapter in the country's deeply divided politics? Tonight, we break down the allegations, the evidence, and what it all means for the nation. Sa ngalan po ni Sir Ox Bolyado, ako po si Dennis Coronacion, and this is the Philippine Insider on TV. At para tulungan tayong higit na maintindihan ang mga isyong pinag-uusapan ngayon ng bayan, makakasama natin ang isang magaling na law practitioner, educator, law and wellness advocate, a Thomasian balladeer, the Pinoy street lawyer, and 2023 Gawad Manileño sa larangan ng kasanayan sa batas ng lungsod ng Manila. Ladies and gentlemen, Attorney Danielito DJ Jimenez. Good evening and welcome sa PH Insider on TV, Attorney.
Good evening sa mga nakikinig nating sa PH Insider, and good evening to you, Professor Dennis. Thank you so much for having me tonight. This is my first time po na sa ganitong klaseng platform at programa.
And this is also a rare occasion, Attorney, because we are both from UST.
Yes, opo.
Ang headline na mainit na pinag-uusapan ngayon ng sambayanan.
Mistulang hindi tumugma ang kwento sa kwenta kaugnay ng umanong suspicious covered assets ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Lumantad ang usaping ito kasabay ng pagdalo ng ilan pang resource person para sa impeachment proceedings. Ang detalye ng balitang yan, tinutukan ni Judea Bernardo.
Batay sa mga nabanggit na records, nalikom ko ang mga sumusunod na mahalagang impormasyon. Ang total po na natanggap ni Sara Duterte mula dun sa drug lord ni si Sammy Uy ay 22,322,538.21 habang mayor siya ng Davao City.
Mr. Chair.
Sa pagpapatuloy ng House Committee on Justice kaugnay ng impeachment complaints laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte, ito ang mabibigat na bintang ni former Senator Antonio Sonny Trillanes IV sa impeachment subject na si Vice President Sara Duterte. Sa sinumpaang salaysay ni Trillanes, inisa-isa nito ang buong angka ng Duterte mula kay former President Rodrigo Duterte hanggang sa common law wife nito at bunsong anak na si Kitty Duterte na nakatanggap din umano ng daan-daang milyong pisong pera mula sa kilalang drug lord na si Samuel Sammy Uy. Isa lamang ito sa mga detalyeng pinaniniwalaan ni Trillanes na pasok sa impeachable offenses. Kasunod nito, naniniwala rin ang dating senador na may tagong yaman si VP Sara. Isang impormasyong umaayon sa nakita ng Anti-Money Laundering Council na bilyong-bilyong pisong halaga ng umanong suspicious transactions sa pagitan ng bise at ng asawa nito na si Attorney Manasseh Mans Carpio. Ayon kay AMLAC Executive Director Ronel Buenaventura, umabot sa 6.77 billion pesos ang kabuuang halaga ng covered at suspicious transactions na napuna mula sa mga bank account na iniuugnay kay VP Sara at Carpio mula 2006 hanggang 2025. Sa ulat ng AMLAC, umabot sa 1.83 billion pesos ang pumasok sa bank accounts ni Vice President Duterte, habang nasa 2.59 billion pesos naman ang pumasok sa kabilang account ng kanyang asawa na si Carpio. Sa kabuuan, pumalo sa 4.43 billion pesos ang pumasok na deposito sa bank accounts ng mag-asawa. Napansin din ng komite ang kulang na idineklarang cash on hand o bank deposits ni Duterte kahit tumaas ang kanyang net worth ng mahigit 55 million pesos noong 2019 hanggang 88.5 million pesos noong 2024. Ang impormasyong ito ay kinumpirma mismo ni Ombudsman Central Records Division OIC Karen Batu.
So sa madaling salita, yung kanya pong cash na dineclare was only from 2007.
Sa bahaging ito ng clarificatory hearing ng Justice Panel, ang buong naging sentro ng deliberasyon ay kung mayroon bang probable cause ang mga inihaing articles of impeachment laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Nauugnay ito sa alegasyong graft and corruption. Mula rito sa House of Representatives, ako po si Judea Bernardo, DA Patrol.
Maraming salamat sa iyo, Judea Bernardo.
From headlines to public debate, we now turn our attention to this issue. Joining us live on Zoom is former IBP President Attorney Domingo Cayosa. Good evening and welcome to the PH Insider on TV, Attorney Cayosa. He's going to ask you a question.
Yes, Attorney. No? You made mention earlier that the sources of the pieces of evidence being introduced in the lower house apparently came from credible sources, which are government agencies. So, in your view as former IBP president, so if you compare the testimonies or the affidavits that have been prepared and even presented also in the House versus the previous affidavits versus the affidavits being presented now, like that of Trillanes, would that be a strong or are these stronger narratives now compared to those presented previously?
Well, we can say that they are better on a number of grounds. Number one, they are more detailed and organized. Secondly, they come from people whom we would know outside of their testimonies or affidavits to have access to these kinds of information. And third, aside from what is saying in their affidavits, they are attaching documents and records and photos and many other details. So in that sense, mukhang mas maayos itong mga affidavits ngayon. Of course, it remains to be seen whether or not it could stand scrutiny, cross-examination, probing questions, and counter-checking, fact-checking. But at least on those grounds that I mentioned, they are relatively better than earlier affidavits and testimonies na presenta sa iba't ibang hearing ng Kongreso.
And maybe you could also educate our audience na hindi pa po ito yung actual trial proceedings. Ang affidavit po needs to be testified on during the impeachment process. Tama po ba ako, Attorney?
Tama ho. Kasi yung nangyayari lang ngayon dun sa Committee on Justice sa House of Representatives, yung kagaya lang ho yan na establishing a probable cause dun sa investigation ng fiscal o public prosecutor. Kasi nga naman, kung iakyat sa Senate Impeachment Court yung asunto laban sa ating pangalawang Pangulo, ang magiging prosecutor yung mga congressman. So tama na maingat sila, tinitimbang nila, dinodouble check nila, nagka-clarify sila dun sa mga hinahain na ebidensya o testimonya. Pero, tama ho kayo, hindi pa ho yan yung proof beyond reasonable doubt pagdating sa criminal case or yung convincing evidence pagdating sa impeachment. Doon matetesting kasi yung kabilang panig, yung depensa, mga abogado ng Vice President o siya mismo, pwede nilang tanungin at i-check yung credibility ng mga witness at yung credibility at accuracy ng kanilang mga pinagsasabi o yung mga dokumento. So, preliminary lang ko ito ngayon. So far, so good naman, maayos. Hindi natin alam kung ano yung mga itatanong pagdating sa impeachment trial problem.
Meron po kayo nabanggit na quantum, yung proof beyond reasonable doubt. So doon po sa ating mga nakikinig, yung sinasabi ni Attorney Cayosa na proof beyond reasonable doubt, ito yung usual quantum of evidence na nire-require, no, sa isang ordinary criminal proceedings. Pero ito po ay impeachment, attorney, no? And pagdating sa impeachment proceedings, as I read the previous House rules, it is silent as to the quantum of evidence. And considering that an impeachment proceedings is a political exercise, tama po ba ako na at the end of the day, kahit anong tibay nitong mga ebidensya na ito, pagdating sa Senate, at the end of the day, politics pa rin ang masusunod at hindi ang supposed legal tact.
Well, you're correct in saying na doon sa Senado, hindi naman proof beyond reasonable doubt. That's only for criminal cases kasi nakakulong ka. Yung impeachment case is a class police vote. At tama pala, hindi maglagay rin sa rules at mag quantum of evidence, anong level ng ebidensya. Kaya nga nabanggit ko, convincing lang yan eh. It's not even at this standard. But why do I say convincing? Kasi tama ko kayo na, of course, importante yung katotohanan, importante yung ebidensya, credibilidad. But at the end of the day, yung ating elected officials, mga senador, representing the people, the political body of our republic, sila ang magtitibag, guilty or not guilty. Kaya nga, importante pa rin na kahit politics will matter at the end, no? Ang numbers game, sinasabi ng muna, importante na makumbinsi ang taong bayan. Bakit? Kasi ang special feature ho ng impeachment proceeding, araw-araw yan, tuloy-tuloy, mabilisan, forthwith, hindi ho yung tinidribon. Kagaya ng mga kaso sa mga hukuman na naabot ng siyang-siyang. Pangalawa, hindi teknikalidad masyado ang ginagamit dyan. Plus, pangatlo, importante, kitang-kita ho ng buong sambayan ng Pilipino yan. Kaya, pag nakukumbinsi mo ang sambayan ng Pilipino na tama yung taning mo, may pressure din yan sa mga mapabanas, mga elected representatives, regardless of their political affiliations, may certain amount of pressure yan. Kasi they have to be responsive to the people they represent and who elected them. So, of course, meron pa rin yan na kahit wala na sa katotohanan, kahit wala na sa pagiging ng taong bayan, dahil sa noon ng pila, sa isang tao, isang pamilya, isang partido, paninindigan pa rin nila yung kanilang prejudgment. Nakakalungkot yun. Pero sa tingin ko, karamihan pa rin ng mga senador, they will in one way or the other be sensitive or responsive to the public perception. So, importante ko yan na gawin either na depensa o ng prosecution na kumbinsihin ang nakakaraming Pilipino para may pressure, may input, may konsiderasyon na ibibigay ng mga senator judges. Kung sakasakali makaabot doon, o kaya yung congressman habang pinagbubutuhan nila, kung yan ba i-aakyat nila na impeachment complaint sa Senado o hindi.
So, ibig sabihin talaga, napakahalaga ng legal implication pa rin. Dahil it might shape the public opinion, which in turn will be a factor when a senator judge decides. Which brings me to, okay lang another question, sir. No? It seems that in the course of the supposed query during the House determination of probable cause, may mga ebidensya nga po na hindi direktang nakasama doon sa mga sa principal complaint for impeachment. Ito naman po hypothetical question lang, no, without preempting whatever challenge there is, no. In the ordinary course, no, by analogy sa isang determination of probable cause, tama ba na limitado lamang sa mga unang isinampang reklamo ang maaaring maging ebidensya sa korte, o pwede ito na in the course of the deliberation, investigation, ay madagdagan as long as ito ay directly related doon sa complaint? Ano po what can you say about this, attorney?
Malinaw ko naman, under the existing provisions of the Constitution, yung mga impeachment rules ng House at Senado at principles of law, na as long as the evidence or testimony is relevant and material to the ongoing case of investigation at may poder naman subpoena powers ng Kongreso, pwede ho nilang hingin yan. Hindi naman ito hindi ay mangyayari ho kasi may mga attempt na gawing game of technicalities. Di ba? Hindi ho ganun yan eh. Kasi ang purpose ng lahat ng ito, para malaman merong magmatibay na kaso o wala. So, they should employ all means by friends to assert it at inobol sa lahat. So, I think mas maganda ho na ilabas lahat para makita ng taong bayan. Yun naman ang purpose. Para magkaroon ng mas malinaw sa mga alegasyon. Hindi lang o mga propaganda, press release, o opinion ng mga abogado na magtabi ng panig.
Ang napansin ko lang ho dito, attorney, no, because I've seen the impeachment of former President Estrada and former Chief Justice Renato Corona. This part of the process where documents have been produced by government agencies, these were all done during the Senate proceedings itself. Now, comparing it today, these pieces of evidence were produced during the House. So, would that distinction be relevant insofar as taking into account the validity of the process? What do you think po, attorney?
Ang tama yung observation ho ninyo na compared to previous impeachment proceedings, karamihan ng ebidensya doon na sa Senate. Kaya ako nangyayari ng ganyan kasi maalala ninyo, nung nakaraang taon, pinakialaman ng Supreme Court yung impeachment process doon sa Senado. Diba? Pinatigil nila. At naglabas naman kung ano-anong mga alituntunin at mga standards ang Supreme Court para sundin o i-guide down yung mga mambabatas, which many or most legal experts criticize as judicial overreach. So, naiintindihan natin ito. Nagtuloy yung mga congressman. So, yun ang ginagawa nila. They are using their subpoena powers to tingnan, ito ba konektado sa mga ibang ebidensya o hindi, tulad na ito o hindi. Yun ang ginagawa nila. As long as they don't go to a hearing process, which is legitimately the role of Senate, wala naman ho problema. Wala namang grave abuse of discretion. Kasi kung titignan natin ang rules of impeachment ng House,
Yeah, so in other words, attorney, parang what makes this different from previous proceedings dahil nga doon sa Duterte doctrine na rin, sa BP Sara doctrine, kung saan kinakailangan mas malalim ang determination bago isampa. No? So, siguro magandang mapaliwanag din ni Attorney Cayosa yung tinatawag nating presumption of regularity. It is a principle of law kung saan ang mga dokumentong galing sa mga ahensya ng gobyerno ay binibigyan ng mataas na probative value. So siguro ang magandang katanungan, paano mo babasagin yung probative value nito, if at all?
Yeah, yun ang-
Dahil remember, ito'y dati na supposedly, yung mga transaction ang tagal na eh. Bakit ngayon lang lumabas? So ano ba to? Ito ba ay genuine? So yan yung mga magandang katanungang subukan natin kung masasagot ni
Naalala ko sa
Attorney.
interview kanina nung defense counsel ni Vice President Sara Duterte, sabi niya, with regard to those bank accounts, yung mga SALN, sabi niya sa mga tao, let's be careful in coming up with a conclusion regarding this information. Kasi sabi nga niya, yun nga, baka nga mag-conclude na yung mga publiko na guilty agad. O guilty agad si VP Sara Duterte and all those other Duterte family members whose names were mentioned. So, yun ang iniiwasan ng mga abogado ni ni Vice President Sara Duterte.
At hindi lang yun, the fact na may nasamang ibang tao na hindi naman impeachable officer. So, how would this affect, the validity of those series of information na lumabas? Kung naging overkill ba to, how would it affect? Medyo magandang...
Yeah. Overwhelming nga, attorney, yung mga information regarding the bank accounts, si SALN, parang ang hirap i-digest eh. So, pero ang isang doon, interesting doon, attorney, I think we must, we might
Tagal na
want-
di ba?
Tagal na
yung
din. This is not the first time.
In fact, if I recall, si Senator Trillanes, inilabas na ito.
Yeah.
At parang di umano, I'm not sure kung dininay ba ng AMLAC yung ganito. So, medyo magandang tanungin. Kung bakit ngayon lang kinonfirm ng AMLAC, samantalang pinatawag rin sila dati eh. So, ano kaya ito?
Hindi kaya may politika rin doon, attorney, no?
Yan ang lawyer lang ako eh.
Kasi I remember I think during the presidency of President Duterte, yung head ng AMLAC ay, he tried to investigate. But I think he was removed as a consequence. Oo, so...
AMLAC or ombudsman, parang ganun.
Oo, yeah. So, yun. So, may mga seryosong allegations din, kahapon, attorney. And may mga verified transactions.
So, ang tanong sapat na ba ito? Ako tatanungin, when they declared that it is, I think may mga nauna ng sufficient inform and substance. Kung tutuusin, kung susundin natin yung salitang forthright, binotohan na sana. So, kaya lang dito, I think malinaw yung direction na hindi, kulang pa yan na ilabas natin lahat at this level. Kaya nga magandang tanong dyan, yung ni-raise ko nga kanina, trial ba yung ginagawa o ginawa ng House? So kung ito ay mapiperceive na isang parang mini-trial nga, kaya nga tinaas sa Korte Suprema, medyo legally issue yun. Kasi dapat ang gagawa ng mga yan ay Senado.
Pero attorney, in your experience as a lawyer, how many hearings in a regular in the regular trial, how many hearings does it take to determine the probable cause?
Pagka probable cause lamang, ang mga prosecutors natin ay may yung investigating prosecutor, meron lang isang 30 days para ipakita sa kanyang mga superiors yung kanyang resolution at within 60 days kailangan ilabas. Ganon kaiksi. Kasi ang probable cause, simple lang eh. Meron bang krimen? Yung bang gumawa ng krimen, mukhang likely guilty, yun lang. So sa impeachment proceedings, did the impeachable officer commit an impeachable offense? If yes, is the impeachable officer probably guilty? If yes, yun na yun.
Oo nga eh.
Probable cause, and not just probable cause nga. I mean, at the end of the day, if we look back at history, yung kay Erap ka, hindi na dumaan sa basta pinirmahan ng 1/3 vote.
That's
Inakit
right.
na sa Senate at yun ang naging dahilan para ang Korte Suprema magsalita na sandali, pasagutin nyo man lang. Kaya lang ang sinabi ng Korte Suprema doon ay pasagutin nyo man lang and then siguraduhin na ang bawat miyembro ng Kongreso ay naiintindihan ang akusasyon sa reklamo at pag siya ay bumoto, talagang kinonsulta niya at bukas sa kanyang isipan na talagang may basihan. In essence, parang ganun eh. Pero yung matter of mag-trial ka, mag-subpoena ka, kumuha ka ng ebidensya, hindi specifically sinabi ng Korte Suprema yan. So kaya it becomes now a legal question. And I understand may mga umakyat sa Korte Suprema para questionin yung ganyang klaseng proceeding.
Kasi sabi nga, mini trial daw.
Iyon ang medyo naging tingin ko, dapat di ginamit yung mini trial because it's a misnomer, no?
That's
When you
right.
say mini trial, it means you're doing a trial. And I think taong bayan na magpapasya, ano ba yung nangyayari sa House? Is that really just a clarificatory hearing o trial per se? So, kaya ito ay magandang maliwanagan din tayo. Pero syempre, ultimately, ang Korte Suprema na siyang supreme, no? Pagdating sa interpretation ng saligang batas, ay hihintayin natin.
Yeah.
Ako, palagi ko sinasabi, pagdating sa determination ng impeachable offense, the House reigns supreme. Sila ang talagang whether you like it or not, political question yan. Now, when it comes to the impeachment proceedings, the Senate reigns supreme. It is the Senate who has the sole prerogative to manage the trial of the impeachment proceedings. But when it comes to interpretation of the Constitution, we surrender that to the Supreme Court as the judicial body. So, Korte pa rin ang magde-decide sa overall interpretation.
Yeah, this is getting more interesting, Attorney,
Yeah, sure.
but I'm afraid we have to pause for a quick break. The discussion continues on the Philippine PH Insider and TV.
The 2025 was a meaningful year for Bingo Plus Foundation. As our purpose grew, it was time for a new chapter. Introducing DigiPlus Foundation.
Education is the bridge to opportunities. Through the Future Smart program, we empower learners and educators nationwide. At DigiPlus Foundation, we multiply learning for a better future.
Healthcare should come with no barriers. Kalusugan Plus delivers medical missions and Embrace Plus mental health support which empower every Filipino through compassionate and accessible healthcare. At DigiPlus Foundation, we multiply healing. One patient, one community at a time.
Every dream deserves a chance. In Wish Plus, we grant wishes, empowering individuals, families, and communities together with their partners. At DigiPlus Foundation, we multiply hope, dignity, and possibilities.
Disasters don't wait. Through the Bayanihan Plus program, we mobilize immediate response and recovery efforts. At DigiPlus Foundation, we multiply the spirit of Bayanihan across the nation.
DigiPlus Foundation is committed to delivering on our promise to bring help within everyone's reach. When support becomes accessible, impact doesn't just grow, it multiplies.
Madali pa ba mag-cash in sa Bingo Plus?
Sa Bingo Plus, official partner na namin ng Bayad Center.
Easy!
License ba yun ng Pagcor? Sa Bingo Plus. Kaya responsible gaming lagi.
Ang fun!
Gaming? Na may insurance?
Sa Bingo Plus. Sa PhilFirst, insured ang wallet mo ng 1 million pesos.
Safe nga! Talaga namang...
Sa Bingo Plus. Partnered with Bayad Center, licensed by Pagcor, protected by PhilFirst. Sa Bingo Plus.
The best players succeed because they set boundaries. Every great athlete wins with control. Always have a game plan.
You're still watching the PH Insider on TV. From allegations and documents, we now move to the bigger question: what do this mean for the impeachment case? And what does this bring us closer to establishing probable cause against Vice President Sara Duterte? We'll get answers from Attorney Domingo Cayosa and Attorney DJ Jimenez. By the way, I think Attorney Cayosa left us earlier because he has a very important thing to do. But of course, we still have the street lawyer, Attorney DJ Jimenez, who can share his insights with us with regard to the other aspects of the impeachment proceedings. Attorney, let me ask you this question. Based on what has been presented so far, do these allegations and documents meet the threshold of probable cause against the Vice President?
Actually, even without these pieces of evidence, when the House previously declared that the complaint is sufficient in form and substance, that by itself, sa tingin ko, would have already constituted probable cause for the House, especially since probable cause for purposes of impeachment remains a political question. Meaning, discretion talaga ng House yan. Whether with or without basis on the perspective of an ordinary Filipino, pag sinabi ng House, hindi, yung pagsigaw mo sa Pangulo, probable cause yan, pwede nila talagang gawin. Kaya lang, siguro talagang the House wanted to reveal as much, so kaya nilabas nila ito. But it doesn't mean that may probable cause guilty na dahil ito ay dadaan pa rin sa tinatawag nating impeachment trial.
So yung probable cause in the impeachment proceedings does not really have to approximate.
Yes, or to be too technical. As long as there is some basis, pwede na. So, noon pa nga, pwede na sana nilang iakyat. But they chose to hold this supposed, yun nga, mini trial daw. Na dapat di ginamit yung mini trial at clarificatory. Yan, kailangan daw i-clarify. Whether it be for legal purpose or political gains,
so
we can only ask them. Sila nakakaalam.
Meaning to say, Attorney Cubagaman, itong House Committee on Justice, dahil pinoprolong nila yon, is already going beyond.
That we do not know yet unless the Supreme Court will eventually say, sandali, sumobra kayo. Dahil nga, what makes this different from previous impeachment proceedings, nag-hold ng ganitong klase ng clarificatory ang House. And during the time of former Chief Justice Corona, yung mga titles, yung mga bank accounts, they all came out during the trial proceedings before the Senate. Of course, you cannot question that dahil that is within the plenary power of the Senate acting as an impeachment court to subpoena witnesses. Pero ito, napaaga. So ang tanong, kung ito ay idadagdag doon sa impeachment articles of impeachment na hindi naman na isama nung unang isinampa, yan ba ay valid procedurally? So, yan ang
pwede
mga
ba
magagandang
yun?
tanong na hindi natin pwedeng sagutin dahil may sinampa na sa Korte Suprema.
May petition.
Masasubjudice po tayo dyan. So, but again, if we ask, gaano ba epekto nito sa taong bayan? Ayan ay ibang usapin.
Yeah.
Because this is again, political,
It's a political
issue na ikaw ang pwedeng sumagot. So ano sa tingin mo, Professor Dennis?
Ako, given what, it has been an eventful week in Philippine politics, Attorney, no? And given what were presented yesterday at saka yung mga previous hearings pa, and all of this evidence and testimonies assail the integrity and image of the Vice President. So ako hinihintay ko yung yung kalalabasan ng survey results sa second quarter.
Okay, so after the survey, we can probably say, naka-apekto o hindi.
Yes, with siguro na based on empirical data. Pero attorney, since hindi pa naman tapos itong hearings on the probable cause, to determine the probable cause, I think ang sabi ng House Committee on Justice, magkakaroon pa ng isa pa o dalawa pang hearings before they conclude, before they come up with a report. Meron pa ba, attorney, at this point, are there any missing elements that need to be covered? Kaya baka siguro ito yung dahilan kung bakit ayaw pa munang mag-wrap up ng House Committee on Justice.
Kung ang pagbabasihan natin is strictly yung, for example, yung hindi dineclare sa salin, ito naman ay malinaw na. Hindi ko alam kung may iba pa silang ebidensyang i-introduce. Kaya lang, ang magandang usapin dito, may mga nadamay na ibang individual na hindi naman impeachable officer.
As you were pointing out
earlier. Meron tayong Privacy Act na hindi mo pwedeng buksan, ang mga bank accounts nung hindi naman involved. So, yan yung mga magagandang nakakakiliting mga katanungan. Bakit kailangan isama yung account ng mga hindi naman involved sa impeachment? Ito ba ay politically motivated o deemed necessarily included dahil dumaan sa account ng Vice President? Di umano kasi hindi pa yan ay ite-testify pa sa impeachment court kung yan ba ay totoo o hindi. So yan ang mga katanungang maaaring masasagot sa tamang panahon. Dahil kasama yan, sa palagay ko, meron dyan naakyat sa Korte Suprema. At i-challenge yung ganyan na uri ng ebidensya. Pero as to sufficient na ba yun o meron pa ba silang ibang intention? Hindi natin alam yun. Kung meron pa silang pasabog or what. Kasi remember, may mga allegations na itong account na ito ay account ng isang drug lord. So siguro baka ang maaring papakita nila dyan itong tao na to na sinasabi ni Senator Trillanes ay drug lord, ito ang kanyang basihan, itong ebidensya na to. So siguro parang talagang hihigpitan lang. Pero sa dulo nga, ang magiging katanungan, pag nagawa yung articles of impeachment, at may mga nasama doon na idinagdag na lang ng House na hindi naman kasali doon sa unang isinampa, is this procedurally correct? So, at tanging Korte Suprema ang when it comes to grave abuse of discretion and matters of procedure, pwede talagang magdeklara naman ang Korte Suprema.
Yeah, I remember, sinasabi rin ng kampo ni Vice President na parang fishing expedition.
Exactly. Yun nga ang nagiging allegations ng kabila kasi tila mas na-expound or nadagdagan. So, whether or not nadagdag o hinighlight lang o sinubstantiate lang, yan ay magdidepende sa uri ng articles of impeachment na isasampa. Siyempre, hindi pa ginagawa yun. So, hindi pa natin masabi kung ano ba yan. Kung sinasabi noon na ang Korte Suprema ay nag-overreach, so ang magiging katanungan, ang House ba ay nag-overreach? Yan. So, ito yung magagandang katanungan. Pero ang mas interesado nga tayo na magiging reaction ang taong bayan. Politically, how will this impact? At tama ka, Professor, hintayin natin ang survey.
Yeah. Yung itong mga hearings na ng House Committee on Justice, I think we have seen different kinds of proofs. Mayroong documentary evidence, mayroong testimony.
Testimonial.
Oo, may testimonial. Attorney, which do you think between this evidence would carry more weight at this stage?
Ang masasabi ko lang, ito, tandaan nyo, importante ito, ang allegation ay hindi ebidensya. So, mere allegation isn't evidence, unless this is corroborated by other pieces of evidence. Dahil madaling mag-akusa, madaling magsabi ng kung ano, pero kung yan ba ay totoo, yan ay isang question. Kung bibigyan kita ng example, kung sinasabi ng isang biktima ng violence against women and children, halimbawa, isang babae, na ako'y psychologically inabuso, kailangan yan may psychological report. Kung bata naman ang naabuso, kailangan yan may psychological evaluation report ng competent psychologist. Maliban na lang kung talagang obvious naman kung pinatay sa harap ng bata o ni-rape, yan di na kailangan ng ebidensya, sabi ng Korte Suprema sa isang kaso, kung saan ang isang babae, pinopost pa nung lalaki yung buntis niyang bagong girlfriend, yung trauma nung babae, hindi na natin kailangang i-prove, dahil yung circumstances is very obvious. But ordinarily, yung mere allegations, hindi po ito sapat. Kinakailangan may ebidensya. Kaya pagka nag-trial, nag-proceed ang trial sa impeachment court, ay pinapasumpi na nga yung mga involved para patunayan. Sa kaso ng account sa Velarde account ng dating Pangulong Estrada, sinumpi na yung sino nagbukas nitong Velarde account na ito. Kaya talagang nanginginig siya nung sinabi niyang ang presidente po ang pumirma, etc. Kasi kailangan ma-back up ng ebidensya. So hindi lamang testimonial. So gaya ng mga nag-reveal ng mga may maleta di umano, siyempre, hindi enough na, nagdala kami. Kailangan pakita nila how credible yung maleta. May pera ba talaga to? Ano yung circumstances? So, talagang hindi pwedeng sali-salita lamang.
Yeah, yung mga mere sworn statements.
Yes, so alam mo, kaya nga ang Kongreso, ang Legislative Department ay tinaasan yung threshold ng pagsisinungaling sa administrative proceedings, yung perjury. Ngayon ay more than 6 years na ang penalty. Pag napatunayan ikay nagsinungaling, pwede kang makasuhan.
Yeah. Pero attorney, pag na-establish na ng House Committee on Justice yung probable cause, should it automatically be elevated to the Senate, or can it be stopped at the House?
Yun, i-deliberate muna ng plenary as a whole. Kasi ito ay ginagawa lamang pa lang ng committee. So pagbobotohan pa rin yan ng House of Representatives in a plenary. So magbobotohan pa sila. At pagka, ito nga magandang katanungan, kasi tila merong shifting of allegiance. Bago lumabas tong kahapon, may mga members ng House na pagdating daw ng deliberation, di sila a-attend. Diba? Pero yung iba nga, may mga bali-balita na lumilipat na ng political allegiance.
Tama.
So, magandang katanungan to.
Yeah.
Dahil sa nangyari, kung ito ay makaka-apekto sa public image ni Vice President, unless talagang mapakita nila na the sources are derived from a poisonous tree, na ito ay illegally obtained, etc., at paniwalaan sila ng mga sambayan ng Pilipino at mataas pa rin ang kanilang rate, baka maka-apekto pa rin sa mga boboto sa House. Kasi sa dulo, it's 2026, 1.5 years mag-i-eleksyon. Kung walang malinaw na frontrunner at malakas pa rin ang kumpiyansa sa Vice President kahit lumabas ito, posible pa rin na magdesisyon yung plenary na hindi makuha yung at least 1/3 or majority. So, madami pa rin pwede mangyari. So, sinagot ko na, pero political yan. Hindi ko alam. Lawyer lang po ako at siklista.
Well, tama kayo dyan, attorney, no? Talagang may political aspect. This is a political exercise. Pero ako, parang parang interested ako doon sa bawa. Very convincing yung pagkaka-determine ng probable cause. And we know for a fact that there are some members of the House, as you pointed out, who remain unconvinced na, parang hindi natin dapat ituloy yung impeachment proceedings against the Vice President. Do you think yung mga nangyayari, mga pinapresentang ebidensya in the past days would somehow convince them?
Ako, alam mo, nakakalungkot lang kasi parang tila ang daming gulo sa sambayan ng Pilipinas, no? Pero beyond the impeachment kasi, andyan nakahang ang flood control controversy na tila hindi pa nare-resolba. Ang dating House Appropriations Committee Head na si Saldico ay tila na-hold na sa SEC Republic. Pero sa pagkakabalita, no, ngayon pa lamang ata pupunta ang gobyerno para mag-negotiate sa SEC. So, sa tingin ko, ang game changer dito, kung sakaling mapabalik, no, ang Saldico, at tila lalabas, no, kung magiging ang naratibo talagang wala namang kinalaman ang Pangulo. At talagang depende kung sino ang ma-implicate ni Saldi, no? Pero bottom line, kung meron talagang sincere effort on the part of the government na talagang kinasuhan na yung talagang involved and all, baka that would somehow be a factor. Kasi hindi lang, we don't look at the impeachment as an impeachment issue alone. Kasi mas malaki there's a bigger picture.
That's right.
Which is the flood control. So kailangan, tingin ko, ma-resolve yun and that would impact on the impeachment.
Tama, no? Dugtungan ko lang, attorney, since the impeachment process is about holding our impeachable officials accountable, meron rin namang isang issue
na mas malaki yung amount, di ba? So parang buti pa sila, bilyon-bilyon.
Tingin ko nga, konektado yun, in the decision-making of our lawmakers. Tama kayo dyan. Pero at this point, attorney, hindi pa natin sinisilip yung role ng House Committee on Justice at saka yung performance niya so far. Siyempre, may mga kritiko yan, na sinasabi, namumulitika na lang ito. Totoo ba yun? Or tingin nyo, nag-stick siya sa mandate na alamin yung probable cause?
Hindi kasi ako political analyst Pero of course, if we give them the benefit of the doubt, pwede kasi nilang sabihin, sabi ng Korte Suprema, kailangan bubusisiin namin. Sumusunod lamang kami sa Korte Suprema. So again, wala ako sa lugar para husgaan kung ano ang ito ba ay politically motivated o hindi. Siguro the numbers will show na lang later kung gaano ito katanggap-tanggap sa publiko. Pero isang bagay lang nga yung nakikita ko, kung talagang gusto nilang umusad sa Senado ito, matagal na sanang inakyat. Pero tila, since wala pang numero siguro na nakikita sila na would convince the 16 senators, maaring hinohold siguro until such time na, may lumabas na ganito, baka merong nangyayaring usapin sa Senado, okay na kami. Saka,
how many votes ba ang kinakailangan
16
para ma-convict?
Vote, yes.
To acquit, attorney?
Basta hindi nakuha yung 16. Wala. So kahit may 15, basta may hindi nakuhang isa pa na swing vote, medyo...
You think makukuha kaya ng yun?
Yan ay depende kung lalabas na ang public sentiment for or against the Vice President. Dahil remember, ang mga senador ay may political interest. So, syempre, pag sila ay humatol ng conviction sa isang popular president, how would it affect yung kanilang chances? So, yan ay, sa palagay ko, ay isa sa, dahil nga, political exercise din ang impeachment.
Yeah, tama.
So, kaya sa dulo, this is going to be an election issue. I don't know kung hindi ako political
Yeah,
analyst. Sa
I
tingin mo
agree
ba?
with you, Attorney. I think it's going to be a political issue. At tingin ko tatandaan ng mga tao itong mga nangyayari ngayon, ano, habang papalapit tayo sa 2028 elections. To think na yung subject ng impeachment trial is the person who early on declared that she's interested to run as president.
And we also have to factor, ala pa tayong nakikitang medyo tatapat, ano?
Oo.
So, in the absence of one, paano yun, di ba? So, ako tingin ko, yan yung mga factors Siguro kung biglang may magra-rise up to the challenge, yan, baka ang importante kasi dito, no? I think it's alam mo, DDS will always be DDS. Kahit anong sabihin mo siguro, in general, with utmost respect sa mga kaibigan natin na full support. No? At ganun din ang mga loyalista. Loyalist will always be loyalist. So tingin ko, parang kumbaga sa gera, sila kahit anong sabihin mo, yan na boboto nila. Ang importante yung swing votes, the undecided. How do you convince the undecided to decide for or against you? And that would take a lot of considerations, no? So, and you as a political analyst, ano sa tingin mo? Paano ang magkukumbinse sa mga undecided to be decided?
Well, I think it's just attorney, it's just kumbaga pagalingan, pagandahan ng plataforma de gobyerno at saka kung anong pwedeng i-offer. Kasi right now, I think the biggest issue is about corruption and the economy. Oo, so kung sino man ang presidential candidate na pwedeng makapagbibigay ng magandang solusyon sa mga problemang yan, tingin ko tatangkilikin naman sila ng mga botante. Pero another scenario, attorney, is the possibility, yung consequence. Should the impeachment trial proceed and would reach its conclusion, tapos na-convict, assuming hypothetically, na-convict si Vice President Sara Duterte.
Yeah, magandang tanong yan, ano? Pagka na-convict ang isang Sara Duterte, meron tayong tinatawag na accessory penalty na removal from disqualification from public office. So, hindi na siya makakatakbo. Conversely, pagka nakita ng Vice President na sandali, pag tinuloy ito, delikado. Re-resign na lang ako.
Yeah.
And if we follow history, si former President Erap Estrada, he was not convicted by the impeachment court. So he was not disqualified to run. And he was able to even run again as president dahil hindi niya natapos yung term niya. So historically, pwedeng ganun din ang mangyari. Ngayon, ang magiging tanong, pwede bang nag-resign na ako? Pero yung Senate, acting as an impeachment court, hindi, tutuloy pa rin namin kahit nag-resign ka na. That's again, a legal question. Kasi ang impeachment, removal yung i-remove mo, nag-resign na paano yun? So sa dulo, baka despite all of this, that could also be a legal and a political tact by the opposition para pagpepiestahan nyo lang ako dyan Sige na, resign na ako. Malinaw naman na talagang gusto niya talaga akong ipitin. But of course, kailangan pa rin nilang sirain yung mga ebidensyang lumabas ngayon. Masira ang credibility. Pag nasira nila yan, mag-resign siya, then it might not change the narrative.
And it might affect her chances of winning.
Yun nga, depende nga. But sabi ko nga, kung magiging baliwala ito, despite sa mga lumabas, dahil siyempre, again, DDS will be DDS, loyalist will be loyalist. Yung undecided, kung hindi, wala namang better alternative siya pa rin At depende how she will respond to these allegations, pwede pa rin na siya. So, hindi natin alam. You as a political analyst, what do you think? Diba? Yan ang tanong.
Well, masarap pa sanang ituloy at yung usapan kaya nga lang we have to go down to the closing question, which I would like to ask to you, attorney, having seen all of this, itong mga recent developments, how do you think the Filipino people should take or should take what's happening in this in the impeachment, and then at the same time, yung nabanggit nyo kanina, doon sa flood control mess?
It is very important. Well, it's very easy to criticize. That's the easiest thing to do, no? Pero, you know, when you are part of the frame, when you are part of the picture, napakahirap to be objective. So my advice, no, to the public is to be critical. Now, how do you become critical with all of this? You simply step out of the frame and see the bigger picture. Once you see the bigger picture, hindi kayong kung sasali ka, then you make your decision. You make your independent, intelligent, and critical decision. Hindi mo makakaganda at makakabuti sa sambayan ng Pilipinas. Hindi dapat basta pro Duterte, pro Marcos, kundi pro PH, Philippines.
I agree, Attorney. So tonight, we were confronted not just with allegations, but with questions that go to the very core of public trust. Documents have surfaced, transactions have been flagged, testimonies have been laid out. But in the end, an allegation, no matter how explosive, must stand the test of evidence of law and of due process. Because impeachment is not a weapon, it is a constitutional mechanism meant not to destroy reputations, but to protect the integrity of public office. In a nation long divided by politics, the Filipino people deserve more than noise. They deserve clarity, they deserve truth, and above all, they deserve justice that is not selective. As this story unfolds, one thing must remain constant. No one is above the law, but no one should be judged without it. Magandang gabi. Sa ngalan ni Ox Balyado, ako po si Professor Dennis Coronacion. Hanggang sa muli nating paghihimay ng mga balitang may pakialam ka, this is the program where we cut through the noise, confront the gaps, and demand the answers the nation deserves. This is the PH Insider on TV.
Ako po si George Bandola. Ako po ang host ng Walang Bola Puro Tama. Ano ba ang Walang Bola Puro Tama? Ito po ay punong-puno ng mga balita, mga mapagkakatiwalaang balita at syempre mga komentaryo o pag-aanalisa sa mga isyung may kinalaman ng taong bayan. Definitely, Definitely. Makakapulot po kayo ng mga magagandang komentaryo dito, mga magagandang pananaw patungkol sa mga bagay-bagay, sa mga nakakaapekto o sa mga isyong nakakaapekto sa buhay ni Juan de la Cruz. At syempre, ng ating mga nanay, di ba? Hindi rin po namin nakakalimutan na bigyan kayo ng mga viral na mga balita. Kung meron man, meron kami mga sagap sa mga nakikita natin sa mga social media o sa iba-iba pa. At definitely, ito po yung mga dapat ninyong abangan palagi mula po dito sa amin sa D8TV at D8TV News. Ang Walang Bola Puro Tama po, mapapanood nyo tuwing Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 9 ng umaga hanggang alas 11 ng umaga. 2 oras na mga